Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, I don't even know who I am anymore? You're not alone. Most people don't live their lives. They live their roles. The good son, the quiet worker, the funny one, the strong one, the always available friend. We wear masks, not to deceive others, but to survive, to be accepted, to keep the peace. But over time, the mask sticks, and we forget there was ever a face underneath. Carl Jung, one of the most important thinkers in psychology, believed that real life doesn't begin until we break free from the mask and start the journey of discovering who we really are. Not the you others expect, not the you perform, but the real you. Your fears, your dreams, your shadows, your soul. This isn't a story about tips and hacks. This is a deep dive into what it means to be whole, to be seen, to be real. In the next few minutes, we'll explore Carl Jung's most powerful ideas. Not as abstract theory, but as tools to help you wake up and remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Let's start with 3 key ideas. The ego, the persona, and the self. Your ego is the I you think you are. It's your identity, the story you tell yourself about yourself. The persona is the mask you show the world. It's not fake, it's just incomplete. It's the polished version of you, curated, filtered, and shaped by what others expect. Yourself, with a capital S, is something deeper. It's the whole of you. Everything you are, consciously and unconsciously. According to Jung, most people live trapped between their ego and their persona. They confuse the mask for the real thing, and the ego for the whole story. But the self, that's where your truth lives. It's the part of you you've forgotten, or buried, or were too afraid to meet. So how do we end up living behind a mask? It starts early. As kids, we learn what parts of us get love and what parts get punished. We learn to smile when we're sad, to be quiet when we want to scream, to say I'm fine when we're anything but. And little by little, we cut pieces off ourselves. We shove them into the dark, hoping no one sees. By the time we're adults, we've become strangers to ourselves. We're performing a version of life, but something feels off, empty, stuck. You scroll through social media, you achieve, you accomplish. You do all the right things, but still something's missing. That's the price of the mask. Here's the part we usually avoid talking about. We all have a shadow. Your shadow is everything you've disowned. Your anger, your envy, your fears, your desires. Not because they're evil, but because somewhere along the way, you were told they were unacceptable, so you pushed them down. But what we bury doesn't stay buried. It leaks out. In resentment, in self-sabotage, in judgment of others. Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Facing your shadow isn't easy, but it's necessary, because your shadow also holds your power, your creativity, your boundaries, your wildness, your authenticity. When you stop fighting your shadow and start listening to it, you begin to reclaim the parts of you thought were lost. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, not just seeing your light, but your dark too, and realizing both are part of your wholeness. That's not weakness, that's strength. This journey of becoming whole is what Jung called individuation. It's the process of integrating all the parts of yourself, your ego, your shadow, your dreams, your fears. It's not about becoming perfect, it's about becoming real. Individuation often begins in a crisis, a breakup, a burnout, a moment when the old story stops working. You ask, is this all there is? And that question, however painful, is the doorway. It's the crack in the mask. Individuation means you stop trying to fix yourself and start learning to understand yourself. You begin to notice your patterns, your triggers, your projections. You start asking new questions. Why do I keep chasing people who don't see me? Why do I explode when I feel ignored? Why do I numb my feelings with work, food, or endless scrolling? These aren't flaws. They're clues. Every shadow points to a story. Every emotion is a messenger. Every habit is a survival tactic you no longer need. As you grow, you realize something powerful. The goal isn't to become someone else. It's to return to who you were before the world told you who to be. That's the real glow-up. Not the version of you that looks perfect on the outside, but the one who feels at peace on the inside. Jung believed that our unconscious mind speaks in symbols, especially through dreams. Dreams aren't just random nonsense. They're messages, stories from the parts of you you've ignored. Ever had a dream where you're lost in a house? Or being chased by something you can't see? Jung would say, that's your unconscious trying to get your attention. The house might represent your psyche. The dark hallway? A repressed fear. The person chasing you? A part of yourself you've been running from. Jung also talked about archetypes, universal characters that show up in myths, stories, and yes, your inner life. The hero, the lover, the mother, the trickster, the shadow. These aren't just fairy tale characters. They're parts of you. Recognizing them helps you make sense of your own inner world. Let's pause for a second. Here's what we've learned so far. Most of us wear a mask, the persona, and confuse it with who we really are. Beneath that mask is the ego, shaped by stories we've inherited. Deeper still is the self, your true whole identity. The shadow holds the parts we've rejected, but also the key to our power. Jung's process of individuation is about integrating all of this. Not fixing, but remembering. Your dreams and emotions are messages from within. This isn't about self-help hacks. It's about waking up. Waking up to your truth, your pain, your story, your soul. Now let's bring it home. You don't need to find yourself out there. You've been here all along. You've just forgotten. Under the mask, beyond the noise, beneath the fear, is you, the one who feels deeply, the one who's been waiting, the one who wants to come home. Life doesn't begin when you get the job, or hit the goal, or get the likes. It begins when you stop performing and start becoming. Carl Jung said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens." So here's the invitation. Start looking inward, start listening, start remembering. Because the most important journey you'll ever take is the one that brings you back to yourself. Subscribe to Level Up Life. Your journey starts here.